Levi's a minute early.
Yeah, 15 seconds. Let's pop it off again.
Yeah.
Here, just in time.
We were waiting.
Yeah, I appreciate you waiting.
Could everyone please stand for the pledge and remain standing for the land acknowledgement statement? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Salamanca City Central School District acknowledges the homeland of the Anandawaka, the people of the Great Hill, the Seneca people on whose ancestral and modern-day land Salamanca School District now stands and whose water we enjoy. We stand with all Indigenous peoples in their resolve to remain connected to their land. While we cannot undo what has been done, it is the goal of the Salamanca City Central School District to recognize the history and make improvements that will benefit the next 7 generations of Indigenous peoples. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Hey. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
Yeah, there are just a couple. We added since Friday, we added the budget PowerPoint, the seeker resolution that I'll talk about during my time, and the cooperative natural gas supply bid, and we also added the IEC meeting minutes from last Wednesday.
Alrighty. Then I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Carrie, second by Dale. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Okay, we're gonna go on to our recognitions and presentations. The First is our recognition for Western New York Family Engagement Award.
Terrific. I am going to ask Dr. Dudek to talk a little bit about this because this award, which I'm going to pull out here momentarily, the district received in large part because of the work that she has done. Doctor?
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be on tonight. This award was given out through the Care Management Coalition of Western New York at their 5th annual Western New York Family Engagement Conference that happened at the end of February. We were honored and were given an opportunity to come to the conference to receive one of 3 awards that were being given out for family engagement strategies and for family engagement opportunities that either a district, an entity, or an outside organization was providing. So as you saw in the Board of Ed agenda, we were honored for the work of our family liaisons, for the work of our grant writers, for the work of our district staff, teachers, administrators, for everything that we are doing moving forward to try and get our families to become engaged, not just in academics, but in any way possible to have them feel as part of a community and build that strong community within Western New York. So we were honored out of all of the districts across Western New York to receive this award from the coalition. And we look forward to working with the coalition in the future on future performances and future opportunities to have our staff attend anything that they have that will help with additional family engagement.
Good. Well done. And honestly, if you'd like to stand up, I'll actually hand it over to you. Just snap a photo there. We'll make this look. Yeah, there we go. There you go. And then to you. Heavy, isn't it? Okay. All right.
Sir Levi in the background.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. Really nice.
Very good.
One time and pass it down so everybody can see it. Awesome. All right, next we'll go on to our food services presentation.
First we have to start with board meeting.
Oh, boy.
So first we'd like to say welcome to everybody here and to thank you to the board for allowing us to present. So if you, Levi, can you bring that up and you guys can go ahead and help yourselves. We have bison chili, homemade biscuits and, your sister salad, and all the fixings for the chili. So please feel free to help yourselves. And then we can, give you a few minutes.
All right.
And then we can, then we can do the presentation and go from there. Right, so you'll be eating, you'll be paying attention.
Yep, I just sent you one back yesterday. So actually, come here, I'll talk to you. Actually, I'll talk to you.
I think I'm seeing that.
Yours, I didn't.
Three Sister Salad, which meal you have in front of me is a reimbursable meal that the kids could eat and we get reimbursed for through National School Lunch Program. So we're not giving you anything that they don't get. Where am I pointing, Levi?
The purpose for that video was just to give you a little taste of what our staff does every day. They work very hard. And we're fortunate we have a good sized staff, but they are busy from the time they get here to the time they leave. And every day is different, but they do a great job, and I just wanted to kind of highlight what they do.
So that kind of shows you like where they started in the day, feeding the kids during the day and then prepping for the next day. So it's not just make it in the morning and then we're done. They start for the next day, next several days. We're gonna take a slight break in here. And in case you're wondering what this really cool thing is right here, it's our new produce stand that Mr. Schnapper and his kids made for Prospect. So they'll have the ability to grab fruits and vegetables at Prospect. There's going to be Tim, is it the roof on it, or you want to help explain?
Yeah, so I can.
Yeah.
So we are working with the school print shop. Their DECA is donating a awning that's gonna go on the top of this. It's gonna have logo in the front and sticking with the red and gray theme with the traditional scalloping or what you'd see on a farm side produce stand, side of the road produce stand. So just trying to give our kids just something a little bit cool to look at as well as functional. So I designed this from scratch and we made this with my life skills students. So all of our special needs students in first period. So they worked on this with me for about 3 weeks between building and construction and then painting after. So yeah, they worked really hard. I asked some of them to come and be here tonight. I don't think I saw any of them were able to make it, but yeah,
here's the crew.
these are my 6. I work with them every morning. We've done everything from mousetrap cars to doing different projects around the school. We're trying to use that time as a way to build, not only build their skills, but also improve the school district as a whole.
So I had actually started talking to Tim about that probably a year ago, maybe, and
Yeah, it was at the end of last school year. But we had talked about it and then I approached the subject back again this year. We priced out, we got materials and then By the time we got the kids, had to go through some safety with them because we were doing cutting and screwing and all those other things. So I wanted to make sure that they were safe doing it, but they had a blast putting it together. They were all little worker bees, putting it, and they poured their hearts and souls into it, so it was nice.
That's awesome. We should actually have them autograph it with a
Yeah.
permanent
Yeah.
marker. That would be cool. So, thank you again, and
course.
make sure you thank them for us
I
as
will.
well. So, Sandy, you're up.
I'm the why person, because that's always my question is, why are we doing this, or why is this way or that way? Why do we care about what we're feeding our students and ourselves? It's for a lot of reasons. Why are we moving to scratch-based cooking in the cafeteria? Why haven't we done that? For one, more appetizing foods. We have some statistics that talk about that later on in the slideshow. To avoid food waste, although we do have an evil master plan revised that we're going to do some things with food scraps. Healthier students is a good thing for us, as well as to prevent diabetes, childhood obesity. The Western diet impact on Indigenous people is huge. And here's my public health message. I would try to make one. We have the first generation of youth who do not have the same life expectancy that I have. Why is that? Because we have garbage in, garbage out. If you're just feeding not local, not fresh produce, etc., and you're only eating Doritos and Mountain Dew, not to pick on anybody, McDonald's, not to pick on anybody, but you don't have the same life expectancy, and we don't have free range kids anymore. People don't just go out and play. We have a sedentary lifestyle, a lot of screen time. So this effort is an effort to push back against that. Why is this important? Well, we want to make sure our kids are fed. Number one, a fed child is a child who can attend and be engaged. Did you know that we have a local soup kitchen? And did you know that they feed roughly 200 people a day? 12% of our households are struggling with food insecurity. At one time, Salamanca was a poor city in the state with lots of food security issues. We also have a local backpack program where students can go and get food for the weekend on Friday. But we also started one in the school district where the liaisons have been wonderful in working with Kayla Hager to coordinate that so that students who have food insecurity issues are identified in the classroom and they can take food home for the weekend. We want to reduce the silo of the school and the community. We want to be working together within the community to resolve those food insecurity issues. And lots of other good reasons why we do what we do. But again, we want to make sure that our students are fed the most nutritionally balanced food that they can. Selfishly, because I want somebody to take care of me when I get full. Back to you. Oops, yeah. So, John, this is you.
Okay, so what do we make scratch? We do quite a bit. I don't think everyone realizes how much we actually do. Someone recently asked me, seemed surprised that we made our own dressings. Chinese. Yeah, we make all our own dressing. We try to make all our own dressings. Once we do go with the packets once in a while if necessary. And we're expanding on our dressings with our salad bar that we just started in October. We're introducing a dressing of the week. So we're expanding on that. Main entrees, I know it's pretty broad, but we try to do as much scratch with our main entrees as possible. We recently, for St. Patty's Day, we did Irish stew. So we brought in the top round, cut it up, raw, top round, brought it in, cut it up, stewed it, all fresh veggies. And the chicken, and when we first started, people said you can't do raw chicken in schools. And it's not that hard, it's gotta be safe. Staff has to be trained. Now we have raw chicken at least once a week.
Well, he actually cooks the chicken.
Make everybody raw chicken.
Chicken sushi. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're potatoes, potato wedges. We still once in a while will do the tater tots and things like that. We're trying to get away from processed as much as possible. We did have a student not too long ago asked for the chicken patties back. So we're like looking for a compromise where we might do like breaded chicken sandwiches. And then we might get the frozen ones. They're better than what we did. So, and yeah, so it's Dental Box of the Prospect. We, 2 years ago, I think it was the second year, for Prospect, we decided to try out like a Lunchable, because kids, sometimes they didn't take the main. We just want something they can pick at, especially the lower kids. So we made a healthier Lunchable when we rotated out. So we have a ham and cheese and a turkey and cheese with a roll, and then we have a fruit and yogurt box the next week. So it rotates, so it's always different. And then they just added pizza. I hope they can build their own pizza. Sauce.
So to show that the changes that we're making have really increased our participation. So New York State Public Schools average participation is 52.9%. Here, we're between 75 and 80% based on the number of kids in school on any given day, which has been phenomenal for the program. Our kids are liking the meals and eating the meals.
And participate, what do you mean by participation? Like that, actually, like you get the school lunches?
Number of kids that get them. Yep. So 80% of the kids in a day would eat. The other 20, maybe they're bringing from home, maybe they're not eating, maybe they're sneaking out to McDonald's or
Gotcha.
something like that. Okay, so what started this whole thing is last year, we were talking to somebody from Cornell Cooperative Extension, and they recommended that we apply for the Northeast Farm to School program because we wanted to get started with farm to school stuff. So we applied, we were accepted, and 5 people went to Vermont in June or July. And that's really where this whole thing took off. They developed our vision and mission and our goals and action plans for 23-24. And then we took off from there. We got about 95% of what we aimed to do. We got about 95% of it done. Then last summer of 24, we developed our 24-25 game plan, and we're a little over 50% or almost 50% through that. If anybody's interested in coming to part of the school meeting tomorrow, it's at 3 o'clock over at Westgate, and you're welcome to join. So with that, like I said, it was the summer 23 is when we started that. We went to Shelburne Farms. We come back. We started the Farm to School and Beyond team. So we meet the last Wednesday of every month to go over where we are and our goals and objectives. And we're going to start planting soon and all that good stuff. We've also worked with the NAC team. John's worked closely with them. And then John was accepted into the Chef Ann Foundation and graduated from that program just recently.
So do we have to call you Chef Ann now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so the collaboration with NAC has been amazing. Like work we've been able to do, especially Miss Cook and Gabby Papa, and the whole NAC team has been great. They started, so this picture is from August, and she came in, Andrea came in and showed our staff, all our cooks and supervisors, how to make cornbread, like all the way from the start. Us checking the corn. She talked about drying it. And then we actually got to pound out the corn. It's exhausting. And then we made cornbread. And our staff was, before this day, they were like, something else to do when we say we have to do. We're going to do indigenous foods. They're just kind of like something else we have to do over it again. But after this day, they were like really excited about it. They're like, what are we going to do next? What can we do? What they were really into it and they were excited about. So this was huge. This day was really exciting. Now they still like, we're going to make this.
Got it.
The button.
That's right. So we wanted to incorporate not only the foods into the menus, but we had the signs made at BOCES with the help of the NAC team to make sure that we were saying things correctly. And Shay, I might need your help, because I'm not gonna be able to pronounce it, but some of the things like cashier, this might not translate specifically. I wish Andrea was here because she'd be able to tell us. And like pizza, there's not a word for pizza in Seneca. It's like bread with tomatoes or something is what it translates to. So we had these done. There's also little buttons that John has that we had, Sandy at, Faithkeeper School, one of the, few remaining fluent speakers, recorded how to say each one of these. So we're gonna get them put up on, we're trying to figure out how to get them put on the station so they can just push the button and then it'll say the word so the kids can learn how to speak them properly. This is great.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Oh, so to, make the cafeterias a little more exciting, we rebranded everything with the new logos. Both the new Warriorhead and the new, S logos in the high school and, both the NPR and the Seneca cafeteria. So those are all done. Walls are done as well. As you can see some of the stuff on there. And then we go into the grants that are supporting our operations in addition to general funds.
So the picture obviously is of Chef John getting his graduation documents. And then we had a pumpkin smash in the fall. It wasn't real well attended, but some of the people that attended certainly had a good time. And here are some of the grants. So Karen talked about the Northeast Farm to School training and travel, the National School Lunch Equipment Program, the New York Foods for New York Families Program, Local Foods for Schools, No Kid Hungry, which we're going to be applying for again this year, Healthy Meals Incentive Award, Grow With Me Grant, which has Grow Towers in the 1211 classroom with Mrs. Levine. Hot chocolate milk, who doesn't like hot chocolate milk in the winter months? Hydroponics and aquaponics, you'll see some photos of that. Feed More Western New York, the backpack program. And also creating healthy schools and through Erie One BOCES. USDA Farm to School, which is Edible Garden, our food truck, which we should be hearing some more about later this week. Summer food service program. So last summer was the first summer that we did our own in-house summer food service meals, both congregate and non-congregate. Chef Ann Foundation for Salad Bar that's now available. Stepping Stones, which is a composting grant and working towards indigenous composting techniques. Title IV, Indigenous Food Systems, and we applied for some outdoor cafeteria seating. Also, bees and trees was an idea that we had. We were not funded for that. Food recycling, a food hub, so that one of the things that we find with local foods is it's expensive and there aren't necessarily the mechanisms in place to purchase mass quantities of food for a school cafeteria. So we kind of had some brainstorming ideas, and what if we had Salamanca be the food hub for the other school districts to procure the food from us at no additional cost to them. We're hoping to hear on the planning grant shortly. Circling back to community connections and making sure that the school isn't a silo apart from the community. The food box giveaways have been really well received and really well attended. And so this is just a picture of some of the items that were given away, I think at the last one, and that's a list of who we've been procuring food from. And if it's New York food for New York families, it all has to be locally sourced. It can't go without 400 miles outside of New York State. There's a lot of rules around it, but we've been pretty much on every other month. You'll see us in April again doing food box giveaways to the community. Yep, jump in.
All of those producers, we also use not only for our New York Foods, New York Families program, but we also use them for our daily lunch.
One of our partners, Cornell Cooperative Extension, has been wonderful in assisting us with training and locating places where we can procure things from. The Seed to Supper is an adult ed program that you'll see starting shortly. And that's for anybody that wants to learn how to grow their own produce. And then, of course, we already talked about, and you saw a picture of the pumpkin smash.
What was the radius you said again?
400 miles. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
Taste tests, we had quite a few last year. We've had some smaller ones this year. We're working on, one of the things we had last year were our chicken wings at high school. And they went over really well. Unfortunately, due to the price of chicken wings, we haven't been able to do them yet. So we'll keep looking at the prices and maybe get those this year. But that went over really well. We're gonna try to do more smaller ones. And so the 611 classroom taste testing, the 611 in Seneca, they reached out to me earlier this year, and they had some issues with their students. They'll only eat one thing every day, and so we wanted to get them used to other foods. So I go down there, try to go down there every day. Doesn't work out. Maybe once, twice a week lately. We have time, but I'll wait. So 1 week we'll just do carrots, and we'll just cut up carrots, and they'll take a little taste. And there's 3 students, and if they give it to their lips or put it in their teeth, that's a win. So they've been improving. So it's been great to see.
the 1211 Grow Towers, there are 2 of them now. And you'll see a picture in a later slide. In classrooms, again, helping students learn how to plant and grow and water food. Health classroom, Sheldon, you'll see the pictures of Sheldon from Cornell, and they have hatched chicks, baby chicks. Prospect Elementary also has hydroponics, and John has done a great job in reaching out to student government to get their voice in the food offerings. No, we can't have some things all the time, but we can certainly hear what they say.
So with the staff, John doesn't believe me, even though he read it. We did, as anybody that's on staff knows, we did the wellness survey in October, and John's staff is the happiest, most satisfied staff out of all the different staffs, you know, if it's bus garage or facilities or business office or, you know, Seneca High School, wherever, and John's staff came out as the most satisfied staff, so that means they have a great leader.
And here we are, John grew hair, and I don't know what happened there.
So we've done presentations at different places. Small city schools invited us to come speak in Albany. Erie won BOCES annual wellness fair. We spoke there. We were also invited to speak at the School Nutrition Association inaugural Farm to School Summit in Syracuse. And John most recently did a presentation for the local district school business officials and a couple of their food service directors, and they were surprised at the amount of stuff that we're actually scratch cooking here. So that was pretty cool. And then John's going to be interviewed by the Columbia University Teachers College.
Wow.
Was already. And the one that's not on there is Chopin Foundation will be coming in May to do some filming of John and his team. This is the award that we got at the Farm to School program. And then, of course, John graduated from the Chopin Healthy School Food Pathway Fellowship. And so what's coming up next? So we have our meeting tomorrow. We're going to start talking more about our gardening, and, you know, we're getting seeds in, we're getting soil and where it's going to be and how we're going to do it and all that good kind of stuff. So we're talking about that and creating our garden. We're continuing the integration of indigenous foods in the menus. Oh, there's the Chopin Foundation filming. Continue our work with Brigade, who really had helped us spearhead this whole project to do the farm to school and fresh scratch cooking. We'll continue our to expand our collaborations with local farmers. And then in 25, we'll include breakfast as well as lunch for the kids here at the school and at Prospect. And then that's not all we do. And so food truck, the bid closes on Friday, so that'll be exciting to find out how soon we can get the food truck, and then we hope to collaborate with the business classes to make it part of their curriculum to run the food truck. John will handle the food aspects of it, and hopefully the business department can handle the curriculum and how to run the business end of it as well. And then April 12th, we'll all be at CCA for the annual Easter drive-through event with another box giveaway. And I think, oh,
Yeah, so share tables we've had going now for a while. At Prospect and Seneca, we have coolers. Actually, there's a cooler in the Prospect cafeteria on the stage. So all the milk and stuff, that's anything that's packaged that can be contaminated, like apples or things that are open. Obviously, we can't share, but anything that's packaged, we can put in the share table and kids can grab anytime. They're rotated, make sure that everything's fresh in there. We've been going pretty well. High school, we still just have a table in the cafeteria, but that goes pretty quick, so we really don't need to, we keep that on ice. And there's no need for a cooler.
and then again, Farmer School and Beyond Team meets monthly, last Wednesday of the month, which is tomorrow at 3 o'clock. This is Burton over here helping us. We set up at I think this was the high school and this one's at Prospect. We set up to distribute vegetables and stuff that one night. So we're still working on removing the use of one-time plastics. And students not throwing out silverware. They just take everything and chuck it. They're not, going, okay, silverware has to go here and then throw out my other stuff. I really hope they don't do that at home. So hopefully they'll learn not to do it here. We've had some product issues with chicken and eggs. Eggs, of course, because of the flu, the bird flu, we're having some issues. Chicken was coming in not good, so it was getting sent back. Even though we still do use a lot of chicken, we had to resource it from a different company. USDA foods, some of them are in light syrup versus their own juices, which is obviously much better. And we're trying to use the USDA allotments, which is the free food, which isn't always the great food. Trying to use up just the beef and cheese products for the most of it. And then we'd really like to be involved or to be able to apply for the 30% New York State initiative, which means that 30% of all of our lunch purchases would need to be from New York State. So what is a reimbursable meal? Basically, you had it. We'll skip this part. You can all read it later, but basically what you had in front of you with the chili, the salad, and the roll. Other things we have to be super cautious of. We have a nut allergy at Prospect, so they use sun butter instead of peanut butter there. We have a peanut allergy at Seneca, and then we have a PKU student at the high school, so we have to have a special menu for that person. And it takes all of us to succeed. So it's John and his whole team that are making all this happen for the whole district, which is, and that's all.
That was a great presentation. Everything was delicious, and I can't believe all the stuff you guys are doing. It's exciting, and congratulations, John, on all your awards and everything that we're doing, and Sandy for all the grants you're bringing in. Karen for spearheading everything the way that you do. So it's really an exciting program, and everything was delicious tonight. So you're doing a great job.
Please don't throw yourself.
Yeah, don't throw yourself far away. And if anybody wants to eat, please do so.
Yeah, go on down and.
Delicious.
Please do so.
I'm sure there's a lot of boys up there and girls.
Don't be shy. Yeah.
Dump it on the floor like I did.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering, I'm like trying to put it.
We like.
So I had a question.
Yeah.
Back to the slide on,
Yeah.
that had the food hall with planning and implementations. Do we have the capacity, the space, everything to do that? Or what is that gonna entail?
That's part of the planning.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, thank you very much.
One is a planning grant and one is an implementation grant.
Yeah.
So with the planning grant, we'll determine that. We do have a couple of places in mind that may be available that we could use. But it's really gonna determine on the planning end of it if it'll work.
Yeah.
I did talk to the other school districts and a lot of them are interested in participating in that. And I think if we get off the ground, I think the others would join in.
So does that mean cold storage, dry storage? What does that mean for transportation? We have to provide cold transportation? Transportation?
Yep. Yep, it would be all of that. We'd have to figure out in the planning stages of it, to make sure that we can transport everything. Or if they wanted to come and pick it up, they can come and pick it up. Anything else? Don't throw this over out.
Then next, we will move on to our budget presentation.
All right. Oh, did it stand on the other side? Okay, so this is the first look at the whole shot here. And we're not done. There's still a lot of work to be done. Mark and Nikki and Kristen met while I was out of town and they did some stuff, and then Nikki and I are gonna meet tomorrow while Mark's out of town. And you know, next time we'll have some more numbers for you, but where we are right now. The green line is the 25-26 number. So at state aid is gonna be around $32 million. Impact aid is about 12.7 right now, and there's an asterisk, I can never say that word. There's a star there because that number will fluctuate depending on where we end up for the total budget number. If we need more money, that'll grow. If we need less, it'll shrink. Indigenous tuition and transportation is 9.25 million. Fund balance and use of reserves is at 3.79 million. Miscellaneous is at 1.6, and taxes is at $251,200. If you were to look at the governor's executive run and saw our number for state aid, you would see a number that's around 36 million. And I just said 32 million. I think they screwed up somewhere. They're giving us $4 million for private and public excess cost aid that they shouldn't be giving us. So I did not include it because I don't want to include it and then have them say, oh, whoops, and then have to cut $1 million. So again, tax levy at 250. Here's what we know. So the final ARP monies are all gone. So any of those positions that we had and any of the grant monies are coming back in. Property and liability insurance is estimated at 15 to 19% increase. Salary increases for STA is 4%. SASSA is in negotiations. CSU is at 4%. SSO is $1 an hour per person. Confidential managerial, there are 3 people in negotiations, and then the superintendents are at 3%. Benefits, workers' comp was almost a 19% increase. If you look at other districts, they may have a lower increase or a higher increase. The average was a 2% increase in workers' comp. Ours is 19.95 because we've had quite a few slip and trip and fall incidents in the last couple of years. TRS is decreasing from 10.11% down to 9.9, and ERS is going up from 15.2 to 16.5. Health insurance is a 2% increase. I think last time I stated it was going to be between 5 and 8, but it actually ended up at 2. And dental and vision is going to be flat.
All right, before we move on, I had a couple questions.
Sure.
So back to slide 2, you mentioned you're not putting that extra money in the budget. What happens if we do get it and they don't ask for it back?
Then the amount of our impact aid use would decrease.
Okay, so you wouldn't just switch?
Yep.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
All right, second question on the slide you were just on. That workers' comp increase, how long is that gonna affect us? Does that drop down after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years?
It's up and down every year. This is the highest increase that it's been in quite a while.
Okay, let's say we have no more incidents for the next foreseeable future.
It should drop back down.
And after next year, it'll drop.
Yeah, probably 2 years.
Okay.
Years out. Anything else? Okay, retirement notices. I thought this was gonna be 0, but it's actually 1. We have 1 clerical person retiring this year. It's the lowest amount of retirees we've had in the 16 years I've been doing this. What's unknown, excuse me, the final state aid numbers. Budget is due for the state by April 1st. Whether we have one or not is hard to tell. Some years there is, some years there isn't. So we're using the estimates, best estimates that we have as of right now, and along the line of Carrie's question, no matter what the state does, any fluctuation up or down will just change the amount of our use of impact aid. SASSA contract settlement is also still up, and again, the 3 CM contracts. So district administration across the board, we've got, excuse me, the Board of Ed, the clerk, district meeting, central admin, business admin, which is my office's, auditing, treasurer, which is also my office, tax collection, which is also my office. Well, most of them are. Fiscal agent, legal, personnel, public information, let's see that. Central printing and mailing, central data, unallocated insurance, school association dues, and that's all of the district dues for all the different associations we're in. Assessments is basically the Seneca Nation leases on all the properties that we own. And then BOCES, admin and capital expenses. So right now we're looking at about $4.2 million, where last year was 3.9, so it's about 5.5% increase. Assessments looks insane because it went down by 85%. That's because last year we included in rent for Westgate, and we're not including that this year. Facility, security, and transportation. So basically anything and everything to run the buildings, to secure the buildings, and then to transport and secure our students to and from school. We're looking at 7.1 million versus 7.5 of last year. It's decreased. The big decrease is in transportation due to the number of buses that we're buying. We're trying to equal out the number of buses buying to the transportation aids, so they're both equivalent and not one higher than the other. Next up is instructional. Yep, instructional. So this is anything and everything teaching related, from Nikki, principals, all staff included across the board. Jerry, Alyssa, Kristen, and students with disabilities, all the teachers, library, guidance, social workers, liaisons, athletics, anything and everything. We're looking at $32.75 million compared to 30.5 of last year. So it's a $2.1 million increase and a 7.1% increase. The reason community recreation is a -100 is because there's nothing in there included at this time for an additional phase on the playground. Last but not least, benefits, debt, and transfers. So benefits come out at $12.8 million versus 12.2. So it's almost a 5% increase. Debt service is down 37.5% because we paid off one of the bonds last year. So we have less debt now. And interfund transfers is up a little bit because the cost of food is outrageous. So the cost of running our lovely scratch cafeteria is a little bit higher. So total, we're looking at 59.6 right now, 59.7 essentially. And again, we're not done. That number could go up a little bit, could go down a little bit. So right now we're looking at just about a 3% change from last year to next year, or from this year to next year, I should say. Questions?
Any have questions?
Yeah, I guess my big question is, we see a lot of the increases are necessities. So what does that do for a lot of the optional programs that we're running?
That's where we need to look at next.
Mhm.
Figure out what we can continue to do, what we might need to cut back a little bit on, or what we can, double. It's really going to depend on what what number we decide as, you guys, as the board, as finance, on where we can settle in, on a number. And then what we can either fill in or take out to reach that number.
Okay, and so this is presentation number 2?
Mhm.
You have one more,
At least
at least one more?
Yeah.
Okay, when do we have to have this formally approved here before it goes to vote?
April 24th, I think, is the deadline.
Okay. So a couple more board meetings?
Yep.
Okay.
And if there's anything in particular you'd like to see, different than what I've done, either here or in the past, just let me know and I can make sure I do that. If you have something in particular you'd like to see.
And just carry on your note, the budget that was presented tonight is very lean compared to where we've been. So, we're gonna be, we need to sit down with the finance committee, determine what our final number needs to be and make sure everybody's on the same page. Because there's a lot of things that we're used to, that aren't currently included, that we want to see if we can get back in there.
Okay. Terry, I'm gonna ask you a question for you because I heard you sidebarring. So one of the biggest numbers that if you look at this that you see is back on page or slide 9. The variance for students with disabilities program, $1.9 million increase from 7 million to 8.9. So can you give us an explanation of that? Is that you or is that me?
Well, I can talk a little bit about it, but I'm gonna rely on Jerry to correct me. There's a couple factors here. One, our special ed numbers are just plain up. So the number of students who are being referred for classification, as well as the number of students who are moving into the district that are already classified, is significantly impacting that particular number. The other piece here is that there's regionally a shortage of student or teachers with the special education certification. So a lot of times we would be able to send some of these students to a BOCES program, and right now their program isn't available. So we're having to pay very high costs for online instruction, and other forms of supplemental, I'll call it, instruction to meet their learning needs, because regionally, we just don't have enough teachers. Jerry, you want to like put some more flesh on what I said there?
Yeah, that's completely correct. You know, we have received the number of referrals we're getting are also more significant needs as well. Kids coming with lesser skills. I think we're seeing a lot of that from the COVID bubble, if you will, for our young kids who are coming in. A lot of behavioral concerns that are typically managed in different kinds of programs in smaller settings. And some of those programs that Mark said are not available in our local area. So we're reaching out to other BOCES, other placement programs that are further away. Lackawanna, Buffalo, area type of things that are a little bit more costly at times to find those placements for the kids. And again, the online virtual instruction, those kids that not like placements for, is also a significant cost. To provide those classrooms for those kids, certified teachers, to have special education background.
So just putting a student into a special education virtual classroom is $6,000 for 20 days. And if I take an out of district placement, what am I looking at?
Depending on the student supports and needs, if you look at a child who's in a most restricted classroom, which would be a 611 with a 1-to-1 aid and all the supports, it goes over $120,000 with the child.
Right. Does that include transportation?
No, that's just tuition costs and related services.
That has been probably our largest growth area of as far as cost goes. By far, you picked it up right away. And then just besides the fact that the students themselves are costly, there's also significant teacher and administrative costs that are associated with that. The social workers, the teachers, the annual reviews that have to occur with school psychologists, administrative teams. So you see that number, and then coupled with that are other resources that we're happy to provide, but we just have to recognize those are very costly.
That's all I had.
The only thing I'd like to see is, if we are going on a lean budget, what are we taking out? If we could just get a list to see, like, what are we losing, so we can make a good decision on. where we are.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Thanks. For all your hard
Karen.
work. Okay. Move on to communications. Do we have anyone here? One has to speak. Okay. What about anyone from title?
I don't see her here this evening.
Okay, then we'll move on to our central office message. Nikki, you want to share us out?
There's, first, thank you to the service for the presentation. I just want to highlight some fun March Madness things that are happening across the district. So students at Prospect are reading across America this month. They're celebrating a different author and a story each week. This week is Winnie the Pooh, and I heard there's going to be some characters visiting on Friday, so that's really exciting for the kids. There's been some March Math Madness in second grade. They have like a little friendly math competition. I believe they presented to the board before. It's on each year. It's just a great way to incorporate fun while maintaining academic rigor, and the kids really love it. At Seneca, along the lines of Math Madness, every Wednesday this month, so tomorrow night and again next Wednesday from 5 to 6, we have the parents with the student come in and they learn math together. So there's 2 sessions left, one on the 26th with a focus on fractions, one the following week with a focus on geometry. I want to thank Levi for the March Happenings newsletter that went out. It's exceptionally well formatted and I love all the information in there, so thanks very much for that. Just a reminder about the musical production, Mamma Mia, happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Good luck to all of our students, and a huge thank you to all of the adults that made that happen. Best wishes to our Odyssey of the Mind teams competing on April 5th in Syracuse. And a thank you to the music department for hosting All County. Received numerous compliments from families on how well the hosting was and the performances. Congratulations to our students. And then the end of the quarter is April 4th. So just a reminder to students, get your assignments turned in and your success is based on your attendance here. So you need to be here to learn. That's it.
Karen, you have anything else for us?
No, I think I'm good.
You're good tonight? All right.
Had enough.
Yep. All right, we'll go on to the board message. Kristen, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. First off, it's good to see everyone here tonight. Nice packed house. Mix of students and staff. I just want to thank all of you for being here. First off, thank you for our presenters tonight, John, and I just want to commend you on your leadership with your team over there, and as well as with Karen and Sandy with all the work you do as well. That presentation tonight was amazing, and that was probably the best chili I've ever had, if not definitely top 2 or 3. So yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, no, just all exciting stuff. Dr. Dudek, congratulations on the award there. I think that's great stuff. And yeah, I mean, the weather's changing, things are exciting, we're on the rise, Salamanca's doing some great stuff. I know I was talking to Levi earlier with our sports teams spring sports kicking in now, lacrosse and boys and girls. And then I think next week you said everything's gonna be in full swing. So just wishing everybody a healthy season, start to your season. And just as my message always says, just remember we're student athletes, student part coming first. And yeah, just keep doing good in the classroom. And I want to give a shout out to the few students that and their government teachers who wrote me letters at my other job, on different issues and things like that. And, just your efforts on continuing to lobby for not just your school district, but this community as a whole. It really is meant a lot to me to receive some letters and be able to get some feedback and work with the students and the staff. So it's all good stuff. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Kristen. Tracy?
Thank you to Mr. Stocker and his group of students for the food stand. I think that's awesome work, and it's nice to see the students so involved. And welcome to everybody that came tonight. You picked a good night for some. We got some samples, some awesome dishes that come from the kitchen. And end of the marketing period's coming up, so make sure you get your assignments turned in, and I guess that's it.
All right. Ed?
I just want to thank all the presenters. From from now on, maybe they can all have food provided. That was a nice touch. But it's just nice to see everybody come out this week. Last meeting, we're a little slimmer just because of some traveling and stuff like that, but it's nice to see the full board here and participants and all the students and teachers around. That means a lot to us to do that. That way we know our input and involvement on both sides. And if you ever have any questions or anything like that, always, like we say, let us know. And lastly, just happy spring.
It is on the
Brad?
I want to say congratulations to the girls basketball team that was the last meeting, so it's quite the run they went on. Also, thanks to Mr. Haley, it's the first time I called him Mr. Haley. And that's the feeling tonight.
Bill?
I'd like to say thanks for the wonderful food, John. You know, it was great chili, like the Christian was saying. Probably the best I've ever had. I apologize for leaving a serving of the Three Sisters salad on the floor. If anybody missed it, it's probably on Facebook today. So. I just want to wish everybody a strong third quarter finish. You know, work hard, get those assignments in. Also, sports teams gets the kickoff. I think the cross starts tomorrow, boys. So good luck to everybody, and that's all I have.
Terry?
Yeah, thank you to all of our staff, as always. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us, day in and day out. You're here every day and you're making it happen for our kids, and it's appreciated. John, you the man. That was an awesome presentation, awesome deal. That's appreciated as well. You know, that's a lot of interesting stuff. And, you know, over the years, I always joke about like it's half joking about our food services. You know, there was a time a few years back where, you know, we were making a profit on our food services, and it was kind of one of those things that I always ask Karen whenever we saw it on our board agenda. Hey, Karen, tell us what's going on with profit and loss on the cafeteria. But you know what? That's the joking part. It really doesn't matter. You know, it's the food that we're providing for the kids. You know, like you guys touched on. It's the healthy food. It's the different choices. You know, my biggest regret is that I'm not over here so I can try some of the food. You know, I get pictures from my wife about the potato bar, and I always see the Warrior Burger, and it's just I just never get over here. I'm just too busy at work and I can't make it over. But you know, I think that's awesome what we're doing. You know, and everyone's right. You know, that food really matters. You know, and we're all guilty of it. You know, I'm even guilty of it. Sometimes there is maybe a little too much McDonald's in our lives, but sometimes it's convenience too. You know, we all lead busy lives and we're always going from somewhere to another. So, but everything you guys do in food service is appreciated. And thank you. Yeah, it's spring. Sports are here. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to a great season. Those of you who don't know, I volunteer and assist with our girls varsity lacrosse team. We had first great week of practice. It was awesome. It's exciting. I'm encouraged. Our girls are doing awesome. And the weather doesn't even slow us down. We practiced a couple days in the rain already, in the cold, and we're just chugging right along. And I know all the other sports teams are out there too, you know, so that's awesome. Third quarter winding down, getting towards the end of the year already. You know, it seems like just a little while ago, we were talking about coming into winter and end of the first marking period. Now here we're talking about end of third marking period and coming to the end. All the students, buckle down, especially seniors. You know, the road is coming to an end, and this is where it really matters. Buckle down and do your work, ask for help. You know, all of our staff, they're all willing to help. Everybody's willing to help. I even do the same thing with our sports team. You know, if anyone needs any help, let me know. You know, it's one of those things where everyone has to lend a hand. So we're getting down to it. Do your best. Do your best to make sure you hit that graduation stage. So other than that, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. I'd like to welcome all the students, staff, and administrative staff here. It's exciting to see so many people here tonight. You know, usually we do not have this many people here, so it's good to see. I'm gonna say what I always say. Students, if you see something to make our school better, you know, say it, advocate. Don't be afraid to advocate. If you have an idea of what you think could make us better, if you see a problem, say something. Don't just sweep it under the rug. You know, we want to be the best district we can. We're not perfect. We like to think we are, but we're not. So if you see something or you have a friend, don't be afraid to advocate and speak up, because we love to hear from the students. We love to hear when you bring new ideas to us and say, hey, what about this? That's what I think makes our district really unique, is that we really value student input, staff input, community input. You know, we want to hear it, whether we like to or not sometimes. So please don't be afraid to speak up and let us know. Dr. Dudek, great job on the award. That's awesome. It's nice to hear all the positives and the things we are being recognized for. You know, John and Sandy and Karen, you know, with the food service, I remember when we were talking about, geez, how come our students have to eat brown lettuce? I mean, Carrie, how many times do you say that? Like, we're forcing them to eat brown lettuce. And to see that the number is 75 to 80%, that's incredible, you know? I'm waiting for the, hey, why don't we talk to the business department and start door dashing?
Oh,
We could start.
Service side.
There you go. But it is exciting to see the different foods that we have and the opportunities for the kids to try different foods and to incorporate all the different indigenous foods into our school system. You know, we're really unique in that aspect. And I love the fact that we're embracing it, and that we're trying to incorporate it all the way down from our little kids all the way up to the high school. So, and to give them the choice. I mean, we never had a choice of salad bar when we were younger. It's just like, here, eat the brown lettuce and the
Peas.
the peas. You know, I
Applesauce.
was like, ugh. And just to see what you're doing now is really incredible. So great job. And your awards, you know, that you're always trying to go and learn and do new things. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So great job, everybody. And again, congratulations to the girls basketball team. I think last time we were here, they still needed to play for a Class B.
Yep.
Section 6 title, and so of course they were victorious. So great job to the girls. It's good to see all of our athletes doing great, and not just our athletes. Again, it's whether it's music, whether it's theater, it's exciting that our kids are kind of embracing everything, and that the community comes out to support them too. So it's exciting. And with that, I guess I'm gonna say happy spring to everybody. Don't get spring fever and just say, I'm not gonna do anything with your academics. That's the important part of school, you know. Be here, just like other board members, Ms. Beaver said, you know, you gotta be here to learn. So please come to school. If you have a problem getting to school, again, let us know. We can help, right? We're here to help you to be successful, because we want students to be successful when they walk out the door. So let us help you if you have any problems. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr.
All right, thank you. I'm going to take my time to talk about a couple of the items that are coming up on the agenda. Specifically related to a proposal for a phase 5 of our capital projects. As you take a look outside, our track facility in the back and our soccer field is absolutely beautiful. Lights are up, the scoreboard they've been testing this week. Softball field will be ready to play. They've been practicing on it. Tennis court construction will be starting within the next few weeks. The old tennis court will be coming out. So a lot of work has been done. We started with the steam wing. We then went to Betts Park. We came back for athletics here. And what I'd like to talk about tonight is a proposal that you have the opportunity to vote on shortly for phase 5, which shifts a bit of the focus back to academics and specifically a prospect. So the first proposition that you'll see under new business, at least the real wordy ones, are related to what's called the seeker. And that's the state environmental quality review that has to happen. So before we go much further into whether or not we're going to undertake a project like this, I just want to do a little bit of a background as far as what we've done already to ensure that what we're going to do is not going to have a negative impact on the environment or the community itself. And the lawyers call one of the propositions that you're going to see, at least a cool, I don't know if I've ever met a cool lawyer, but the cool lawyers call it a neg deck. All right, so that's a negative declaration of an environmental impact. And some of the things that have been investigated that are included in that, we look to see where construction is going to occur to see if there is any potential endangerment to endangered or protected wildlife. The flora and fauna are analyzed. We've done not a formal traffic study, but I'm going to say an informal traffic study where we've counted the cars that have gone down specifically around Prospect, because we're going to propose some changes to the student population that's there. We've looked at the impact on the flora and fauna. We've made sure that the project we're proposing aligns with the community plans and the goals. We've also run this through the State Historical Preservation Office and the Cultural Resource Information System to make sure that we're in compliance with any concerns that are there. We've looked at energy and resources to make sure that we're not going to be consuming more water than the city can provide, that our waste products and energy consumption is all aligned. All of that and all of those hurdles have been essentially cleared so far. So when you see the seeker neg deck, negative declaration of an impact, it's a very lengthy proposition, but a lot of work has gone in to make sure that moving forward, we're the proposal that we're gonna, or the project we're proposing will not have a negative impact on the environment. So this next capital project that we're proposing, you can see the goals there. I'm just going to list a few of them. First and foremost is to create an early childhood center to support students as young as 1 year old. We believe, and the research will show us, that early intervention with students and working with students at a very young age leads to academic success much later on. So we know that we have some scarcity of resources for childcare, and getting the opportunity to have our students, and this isn't like they're going to come into a military type of school, right, and be pounded with their colors and numbers. They're going to have a good time, but at the same time, we'll be able to provide some structure for them and start the academics. We want to be able to create class space for students with disabilities. Right now, we send, as Mr. Parisi was saying earlier, we have students that go all the way to Buffalo and Lackawanna, students who go to Genesee Valley. We're looking to, and part of that is because of a shortage of special education teachers, but also we don't have some of the facility space here to have them. So we're looking to provide some additional classroom space so we can bring some of those students back. Prospect Elementary School, while it's an incredible building filled with amazing teachers, needs an update, plain and simple. A lot of the classroom spaces are a bit outdated, so it's time to spread some love over to Prospect. The entry and exit over at Prospect, there are a lot of parent drop-offs. So the traffic flow, while we've done the best we can with what we have available, needs to have some improvements there as well, and that's part of this project. The other piece is a transportation building. So the Iroquois campus is getting pretty crowded. We have put in a significant number of upgrades to our athletic facilities. Our transportation building is here. And the interesting thing about a transportation hub is that it can be pretty much anywhere because they move. So we're going to free up that real estate, the building that's there, turn that into locker rooms for the athletes that will be utilizing the new track. And the other part of that will be for our buildings and grounds department, which is currently renting space across from Denton's. So that particular space will also allow us to have some safety and security features. When we have large sporting events right now, our high school athletic facilities, like the locker rooms, are utilized for the athletes. Good and best practices for safety and security. We don't want non-students and non-parents in the high school, especially after hours. So being able to provide locker rooms outside of the high school will provide all of those facilities, and students that are here on a weekend or visiting or at night games will not have to enter the high school proper. Let's see, we also will be able to provide covered storage. If you've driven by the bus garage, you'll see there's buses and cars pretty much everywhere. We're simply running out of space over there. The other part of this project is that it's going to provide some priority improvements across the district. So our latest, we just went through a building condition survey, but this is based on a building condition survey. And what happens with a building condition survey is we bring in an architectural team of people and they check pretty much everything. The group we're working with right now, even in the brand new addition, comes in and checks the speed at which the door closers close every single door. Everything is checked out. They then sit down, they'll identify items that need to be replaced. We prioritize them. And some of the items that we're looking at that can be included in phase 5 include leaking windows that we have, replacement of the high school bleachers, end of life heat pumps and the boiler at Prospect, Seneca Intermediate student restrooms, which were, Rich, is there a problem with the restrooms over there? Yes, okay. So those simply need to be updated. I can attest to that firsthand because I went up to one of the gang sinks and it looked like I had a bathroom problem by the time I got done. The water just sprays straight at you. Some people thought it was funny, I didn't. And then it provides some improvements to the ventilation on the Iroquois campus. So those are the objectives. Now let's go through just a few of the little details. So phase 5 has been broken out into 4, we'll call them sub-phases. First will be the construction of the new transportation facility. Then we'll move into the Prospect addition. Then come back to the high school for renovation. And then take a look at putting the bus garage, turning the existing bus garage into locker rooms and buildings and grounds. By phasing this out a little bit, it allows us to maximize aid on some of the buildings. It also allows us to be able to work with our contractors in a reasonable manner. So let's take a look at the next slide here. So specifically at Prospect, we're proposing a 23,000 square foot addition. So that is 16 classrooms, 2 stories. For some reason, 2 stories seems to come to mind when we talk about construction. Mr. John, so the footprint and the cost greatly goes down when we start talking about a 2-story addition. The footprint is much smaller, so we'll finally take, after 8 years, Mr. John's advice and put a 2-story addition on. 10 years, all right. So that will include a 2-story, 16 class with new restrooms. Some of the other improvements that we'll see there are just overall classroom renovations. We talked about the window replacement. The facade will get updated a little bit more, a new entrance. Big piece will be the parking. So included in the phase 5 proposal is also the acquisition of some property. The Prospect piece of property that we're going to be looking at in a moment, we agreed to and was voted on last May. So let's take a look at the next slide so we can get an idea of what that's going to look like. So the pink portion is the existing building. The red is the proposed 2-story addition. And then last May, the community passed the proposition to purchase a piece of property on East State Street. That piece of property goes from East State Street all the way back to our existing Prospect. So if you're looking here for everybody in the audience, we currently come in Prospect and then on out Sullivan. This addition here will allow us to have parking, create a much easier traffic flow through the parking lot. It also will provide us, because we want to be good neighbors, so there'll be a nature walking trail through there, and then some other natural buffers so that this doesn't bother. We're not in the middle of people's backyards. We have to be cognizant of the fact that there's neighbors there. So that right now is the proposal for what we're going to look at. Let's see, what do we have next? These are, now, don't everybody get excited and say this is what it's going to look like. These are draft proposals of what it could look like. We're still pretty far away from saying this is it. But what you see there is the 16 classroom addition, new canopy walkway in to both sides. And that's a proposal of, essentially what it could possibly look like over there. All right. The new transportation facility. So included in this proposal is the purchase of a property currently on Kilbuck that most people know as the old Donbrook site. Originally, we were looking at a property on Rochester Street. The proposed cost for that was $34 million. We then subsequently found another site on Kilbuck. It has several existing structures. Much of it will be cleaned up, but there are two large structures that we're basically going to put a new exterior on. And that cost gave us a cost savings of $15 million. So the total project over there, I think including the land purchase, will be $19 million. And we have a basic look of what that looks like. Oh, well, here's just a couple things. So right now there's an exterior metal building that will be re-shelled, I guess. One of the buildings will have the maintenance area, locker rooms for our staff, the director's office, mechanical room, a training room. The other one will be primarily storage. So almost all of our buses, if not all of them, will go in there so that they're out of the elements. And then we'll have parking as well for about 85 vehicles. So the site we're looking to purchase right now, that's what it looks like. That's the old Denver site. By the time we get done, it will look like that. So what you see is the building on the left. The red building will be the, I don't want to say the office, but the mechanics training. That's where most of our bus drivers will spend time. Restrooms in the training room, the mechanic shop. On the right is that building. You can see all of the buses lined up in there and the parking. That's where all of our indoor parking will be for our buses.
How many buses fit in there?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 38, I believe, at least. And there's also a proposal we can move out front if we have more buses than that. So we took that into account. And I want to say we've also talked about collaborating on this with the Seneca Nation. Because I know they've had some questions about how we can help with buses.
How many buses do we have?
34.
I think it's 34 big ones right now.
So 34 big ones.
Okay, what other vehicles?
8 vans, car,
We only have 3 cars.
4 small buses.
Yeah, are those going up to the transportation?
Everything will be up there. The vans and the cars, I don't know if those will be in the covered parking, but everything will move up there. All of that was factored into the traffic study for the seeker. So how all of the people come, go. I've also talked with the supervisor of Great Valley. They are very much in favor of this. And our transportation folks have looked at that and they're happy with this location as well. All right.
Okay.
Then some basic improvements at the Iroquois campus. The update to the restrooms, as I mentioned, incorporation of wireless clocks, ADA water fountains, some internal mechanical upgrades, gym bleacher replacement, doors. I mean, some of this stuff isn't too exciting to most of us except Rich. And then we also have the change of the existing transportation building. So on the right-hand side, you see the footprint. The blue portion would be for athletics. So in there, you will see locker rooms, restrooms, storage areas for the equipment for the track and field. The dark gray area is for buildings and grounds, and the light gray area is at this point in time, so we're going to call it a flex space. And so how is this all going to get paid for? You can see the funding sources right here. We are going to propose the borrowing or bonding of $10 million. Now, people will say, well, you know, how is this, why are you going to bond if we have the money? In order for aid to come to the district, it really sort of comes in borrowing reimbursement. Is that safe to say? So if we don't borrow money, we can't get aid back. And will we get more aid back than we borrow? So magically, I don't know how it works. If I could get that to work for my own bank account, I would do that. But somehow we get more money back than we borrow. So that's why we see the borrowing there. The total project proposal at this point in time is 46.9 or 46,985,000. And I think the timeline, so here's a proposed timeline. Resolution tonight to move forward is before our board. The referendum vote would be on May 20th. The pre-construction and design would be starting pretty much immediately, but heavily in the fall. The new transportation facility would start a year from now. The new Prospect Edition would start about that same time, but take an additional year. The renovations at the middle school and the high school will also take place during the 2026 year. And then once the transportation facility moves over, we can start the renovation at the bus garage. So by the end of the 2028 calendar year, potentially all of this could be done. Yeah. Are there any questions that I can?
Yeah, I want to go back to renovations at the middle high school.
Sure.
I know we had a conversation about it before, but is there any improvements slated for the auditorium?
Excellent question. That is going to be included in phase 4. So we've already been working with the architects. The light designers are coming out. They're going to put a proposal together. So that will be happening well before phase 5. So the proposal is basically for an entire lighting upgrade from house lights to stage lights in the entire auditorium. The sound has been upgraded last year. Was it that long ago?
Next year.
Yeah, so last year the sound was updated entirely. I know where there were some issues with in the fall production. I'm going to suggest that some of that might have been the users and getting everybody trained properly, but pretty much everything they were using was new. But right now the real serious issue is the lighting. And that is our, what do we got? $750,000. We've got earmarked for that. So we know the type of investment we're talking.
Okay, so you said that's part of project 3.0.
Or 4 point, yeah, this project now.
Yeah, so how is that being funded then? Is that remaining funds out of there?
Good question. Right now, there's about $1.8 million that has not been, or that essentially we're under budget. And we had we're about 80% project completion. So we're pretty confident that taking 750 out of that will not cause an impact. So because we came in well under budget for phase 4, we can reinvest those funds. And because the high school renovation was sort of all encompassing, it still qualifies for use of those funds.
Excellent. Okay. And just another plug, the drama production is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Mamma Mia. So that's
Very good.
exciting.
It is.
I'm glad
very
to
much
hear
so.
that we're including renovations.
Absolutely. All right. And honestly, Mr. John, a lot of this to the credit of you. You brought that up at a meeting about a month ago. And it happened to coincide very well with the project. So thank you for your interest there and your support of them.
Thank you for making it happen.
All right. All right. If there are any questions, there are several proposals under new business. There are a lot of words there, but I pretty much summed it all up in my 20 minutes. Might have been faster to read it actually by the time I got done.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Christian, second by Dan. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. There is no old business. Item 7 under new business. Item A is our agreement for Regional Information Centers of New York, one-time risk operations center. So we need a motion to approve that agreement.
Motion.
Motion by, is that Brad?
Second.
Second by Tad. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item B is a donation from the Seneca Nation and for $518 for the senior class of 2025. So we need a motion to approve that grant. Motion or donation. Motion by Christian.
Second.
Second by Tracy. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item C is a National Park Warrior Club, so we need a motion to create that club.
Motion.
Motion by Brad, second by Carrie. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item D is our contract with SUNY Oswego Clinical Experiences Affiliation Agreement. So we need a motion to approve that 5-year agreement.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Dale, second by Carrie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item E is a creation of a substitute nurse position. So we need a motion to approve the creation of the position. Motion by Christian,
Second.
second by Brad. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item F is our school calendar for the 25-26 school year. So we need a motion to adopt that calendar. Motion by Tracy, second by Tad. Are there any questions?
Just make one quick
You can make
quick
one,
notes.
you can
So
do whatever.
the next year's calendar is, well, about to get voted on. A couple notes, December, there's a little bit of a tricky assembly and calendar this year. December, or the Christmas break, we have 2 full weeks this year because of the way it falls. Easter is still back to 1 week. We're starting the year a little bit different. Our focus this year in September is going to be making sure that the staff is consistent with expectations. Our opening day is going to be very brief when we do our big huddle up together, and going to be sort of get back to work and focus on some of the basics of instruction. So sometimes we start right after Memorial Day. We still start after Labor Day, sorry. Labor Day, if you give me 2 things, I'll always mix them up.
Okay.
Labor Day, those 2 days are gonna be half days, so that we can work with the students, get them on board, but also make sure we provide an opportunity for our teachers and rest of the staff for as much professional development as possible. And then last, I'm also pleased to announce that while the governor has added a variety of holidays for all sorts of ethnic groups, this year we are honoring the Seneca Nation's birthday by having December 4th as an official holiday.
Nice. All right. Right now, we have a motion by Tracy, second by Kat. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item G is the Salamanca City Central School District Board of Education resolution issuing secret negative declaration for proposed capital improvements project 2025 and the acquisition of property. So we need a motion to approve the negative declaration secret.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Dale, second by Carrie. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Item H is a resolution of the Board of Education, Salamanca City Central School District, Cattaraugus County, New York. Adopted March 25th, 2025, specifying in detail the necessity for 1, the expansion, reconstruction, and renovation in part, and the construction of additions, improvements, and upgrades to the various district buildings and facilities and the sites thereof, and 2, the acquisition of the certain parcel of real property and the ensuing upgrades thereto located at 4187 Kilbuck Road, Salamanca, New York, all at an estimated maximum cost of $46,985,000. So we need a motion. I gotta turn the page here. We need a motion to approve that resolution. Motion by Carrie, second by Brad. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Let's see. Is I, a bond resolution dated March 25th, 2025. The Board of Education of Salamanca City Central School District, Cattaraugus County, New York, district authorizing the district to 1, undertake the subject of approval for the voters of the district capital improvements projects consisting primarily of A, the expansion, reconstruction, and renovation in part, and the construction of additions, improvements, and upgrades to various district buildings and facilities and the sites thereof, and B, the acquisition of a certain parcel of real property and the ensuing upgrades thereto located at 4187 Kilbuck Road, Salamanca, New York, all at a maximum estimated aggregate cost of $46,985,000. collectively the project. Two, to expand toward the project of A, 10 million during the current fiscal year of the district from the district's capital improvements reserve fund in 2022. And B, 26,985,000 consisting of approximately $21,347,078 of available district funds on hand and $5,637,922 of Native American building aid anticipated to be received of the district funds that are available for anticipated. And three, to issue several serial bonds of the district in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $10 million to finance the balance of the cost of the project and delegating the power of the issued bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the sale of such obligations to the president of the Board of Education of the district. Need a drink of water after that, guys. So, we need a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Tracy, second by Kristen. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Subject J, a resolution of the Board of Education of Salamanca City Central School District, Cattaraugus County, New York District, dated March 25th, 2025, relating to certain matters connected with the district's annual meeting and vote to be held on May 20th, 2025. So we need a motion to approve that resolution. Motion. Motion by Terry. Second by Dale. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Item K is our cooperative natural gas supply bid, WFL 2026-19. So we need a motion to approve. Motion. Second. Motion by Kristen, second by Brad. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. They hit everything, guys. Item 8, our personnel consent agenda is listed under 8A. Item 8B, we need a motion to approve a personnel consent agenda of 8A.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Tad, second by Dale. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. Do we have anybody here would like to introduce?
We do. Mrs. Brown, are you able to speak highly of our own Michael Myers, who has just received permanent appointment?
I'm sorry. Yes, I am. I'm sorry, I'm on the road. So, but I do want to say that Mr. Myers is an absolute asset to our district. He is always moving forward and taking on the next new challenge. And with that, he not only takes on that challenge, but he brings people with him, adults, students, teachers, all of them, everybody. He brings them with him and he challenges their knowledge and their learning, and he stands by them and supports them, and expands what we do and how we do it every day. I can't say enough. He is absolutely amazing, and I appreciate him to the ends of the earth. And I wish I could be there tonight, because he has made my job easier, because he is who he is. He's amazing. And if you haven't met him, if you haven't engaged with him on something, you should, because he is an absolute pleasure. And I just want to say thanks, Mike.
I know.
Yeah, hi.
Fire away.
And I would love to introduce Molly Brown. I'm sorry, Molly Glide. She is one of our interventionists, and she has been doing an amazing job collaborating with the classroom teachers, helping give some ideas for the students and giving some strategies, if you will, for the students that need some extra support. She's a great collaborator. She works well with her team, and she's always ready to donate some ideas and share what she knows. So we're very lucky to have her. She also welcomed me when I first came, and she brought me donuts one day, and that just made my day. So I wanted to say that was a connection that we had, and we are very blessed to have her. So thank you.
Rich, are any of your folks here leaders? Nope. All right. So, and I just want to echo Molly, Mike, congratulations to both you guys. Getting your permanent appointment and tenure is a pretty significant milestone. And I know that it's exceptionally well deserved. So thank you very much and congratulations. Well done. Yeah. And we will make sure that we provide a good welcome and warm congratulations to those folks who are able to attend tonight.
Okay,
It's time for speeches.
yep. Anybody got a speed? No?
Who's going first?
Donuts? No, just kidding. Just kidding. All right, we'll move on to the board information and reports. We have our voluntary transfer. We have our CA BOCES annual budget. 25-26, capital project phase 4 summary reports, our Indigenous education meeting minutes from March 19th, our upcoming events. Of course, tonight was the board meeting. April 2nd is the CA BOCES annual dinner. Our next board meeting is April 8th. And again, don't forget the drama production this weekend. So am I missing anything from anyone? All right, and with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Please, I think Kristen, second by Carrie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Thank you again, everybody, for coming. Students, if you have forms that need to be signed, anybody at the table can sign them.